I have a degree in studying scary animals. People come to me to try and avoid these animals. We're talking about all types of animals, and you guys have been messaging me the 3 that we're going to be talking about today, which we're going to be talking about because you guys have been really wanting to know about them, and I have to be honest, I'm really scared right now. I'm really scared. So here we go. So this first one that we're going to be talking about is, I can't even believe, you guys, before I show you, I am just nervous even thinking about this one right now. These are some of the most scary animals in the whole world. People refer to them as bunnies. Just look at them. They're so fluffy. I can't even believe that this thing is something that people want to even look at. It's terrifying. You gotta watch out, guys. You gotta watch out. Okay, this next one, if you're in the United States like I am, thankfully we're safe, but for my New Zealanders out there, or if you ever travel to New Zealand, oh my gosh. These are so scary. They might be trying to trick you because of their cute little chubby cheeks and their little tiny smile, but watch out, guys. These ones are awful. They're called quokkas. Just look at them. I can't believe people think that they might be cute. They're trying to lure you in with their little cheeks, like I said, but watch out. That's when they get you. Okay, and the very last one that we're gonna be talking about are ones that you guys have been messaging me for weeks to try and talk about. So make sure, if you're not really already following me, I don't know how you couldn't be, but hit that plus sign because we want to make sure that we are adding you onto our watch list for these scary animals. But this one, they're called otters. Just look how they're holding hands. You might be thinking that this is something that they do to try and be cute, but what happens is they buddy up together so that they can get you. Okay, obviously, I'm not a scary animal specialist, but I do want to talk about otters because I can't stand it. Just look at them, you guys. They're so cute. So the real reason otters actually hold hands is so that while they're sleeping, they can connect to their friends so they don't float away and drift off to sea by themselves. Isn't that so cute? You may be thinking, Jimmy, why are we talking about otters right now? We're at church. Well, I'm really glad you're thinking that because, you see, when I started following Jesus, I was in junior high actually, but I never really learned the importance of what it looked like to commit to coming to church. I never learned what it looked like to commit to be connected to other Christians in your circles. For a lot of us, when we think about going to church, we really only go if our family is going, or if our friends are for sure gonna be there, or if our softball team doesn't have a game that night. We don't commit to making church a priority in our schedules. If our parents tell us that our family isn't going to church, we don't wanna ask if we can go still. If our friends aren't going, then we for sure aren't going either. And if our softball team has a game that night, then we're going to that instead. All of these responses are based on what we happen to be feeling that day. Students, what would it look like for us to commit to coming to church even when we don't feel like coming? What if we challenged ourselves and prioritized coming to church above other things in our life? You know, in the Bible, in the book of Acts, there's this story where a lot of people end up coming to church because of a sermon that Peter gave about how God sent his son Jesus to earth to save us from our sins. These people end up becoming believers and commit their life to following Jesus. We read this. Those who believed what Peter said were baptized and added to the church that day, about 3,000 people in all. All the believers committed themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, which is communion, and to prayer. This story tells us why it's important for us to commit to coming to church, even when we don't feel like coming. We really come to church for 3 reasons. The first is this: we come to church for Christ. We want to know Jesus more, and we want to understand what it looks like to become more like him every single day. We come to church for community. This is the second reason: to be able to be encouraged by other people in your small groups that are believers. And the third reason, we come to church for challenge, to be difference makers in our circles. So, What if all of us did the hard work of committing to come to church consistently? Practically, we need to be like otters to do this. Who in your life can you link arms with to help you stay accountable? And what I mean by this is, who can you ask to be your church accountability buddy? Maybe it's your coach, or maybe it's a friend in your group, or maybe it's a parent. Students, imagine the change that could happen in our families, within our friend groups, in our communities, at our schools, if we committed to church every single week. The whole valley would be transformed because at church, we learn about how to become like Jesus. We get to grow in our small groups. And when church is over, we get to be challenged to go into our week and share the good news of Jesus with everyone in our lives. So as we wrap up, this week, my challenge for you guys is to figure out who you can link arms with, to ask them to make sure that even when you don't feel like coming to church, they're going to encourage you to come anyway.